Okay, so welcome everyone. Today we have got Louise Blakely here from Hooked on Marketing. Really excited because we're finally doing some DIY website topics, and I think it's just a hot one because so many of us are trying to do this ourselves, and it can be something that we spend a lot of time on, and sometimes perhaps we're spending a lot of time on some of the wrong things. But I really wanted to do this one because I've chatted SEO with Louise before, and she's given me some tips, and I know she's got lots of golden info for you guys. So looking forward to hearing from you today, Louise.
It's great to be here, Rachel.
Awesome. Hey, I'm just going to spotlight your video, Louise. For some reason, it's not coming up with both of us on the screen for me, so that's fine. I'm just going to spotlight you so everyone can see you.
Okay.
So I wanted to start today just by talking with you or getting your sort of view on why is it so beneficial to sort your SEO out? Because I can remember when you told me initially why it's so important, I was like, oh man, that's really true. And I thought it'd be great to hear from you what it is about SEO that is really amazing for you if you can get it right for your website.
Okay. Well, to start off with, there's multiple marketing channels, right? So we've got one that people spend a lot of time on is social media. But the reality is that when people want to know something or they want to look for something specific, they're not going to social media to search. They're actually going to Google. So Google is like the number one search engine in the world, and it's where we all go to search for things. So it's about being in the right place at the right time for your potential customers when they are actually in that searching mode. So, that's why it's so important to get your results for your website as high up in those search results pages as possible. And that's what SEO is all about, really. It's optimizing your website to get into the most ideal position where you can be found by more people and get more traffic to your website.
Because I remember actually when I first started the We Network as well, because I was doing so much on social media, you kind of make that assumption that people are seeing you because you're on social media. But it was the people who were then telling me that they'd seen me on social media and they knew it was called the We Network, but they'd go and Google the We Network and nothing would come up because my SEO wasn't working yet. So, it's those people, it's that almost like social media is great for that exposure. And then when people are ready to actually take action, sometimes they do go to Google.
Yeah, exactly. And, you've got to be on both, really. Social media has a purpose and it's brilliant. I'm definitely not saying SEO is better than social media, but you can't ignore SEO. And I think a lot of small businesses do.
Yeah.
Just because it seems overwhelming and confusing, but it is something that you can definitely DIY if you know how to. Yeah.
And one of the things that struck me when we spoke last time was how you said, once you've done your SEO, you've done it. Like, it's one of those jobs that, it's really powerful because it's not like you have to go in every couple of days and tweak it. Every now and again, you might want to go in and fix things, or if you put a new blog post up, you have to put in some new headings and titles and that kind of stuff. But essentially, once you do that groundwork, it's there and it's working hard for you. And that replaces quite a lot of work on social media if your SEO is doing that work for you.
Yes, exactly. So you can take a month off your business and you might be stressing out that you haven't been on social media, but with SEO, if you've already done the work prior, it's not like you're having to update anything. So if you're in a good spot, you're going to continue getting that website traffic regardless of what you're up to in your day-to-day business, which is really good.
Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to talk to you also about the fact, like, so many of our mums and women are DIYing their websites. First of all, I wanted to know from you, if you are DIYing your SEO, are there any specific platforms, because this comes up sometimes, that are better than others to be doing your website on? Like, is Squarespace better than WordPress, or is WordPress better than Weebly, or does it make any difference, or is it about the quality of the keywords and everything that you put in there?
So there definitely is better platforms for SEO. The best one that is the most common is WordPress by a mile, because there's different plugins that you can use for various things, and you have more control over settings and how to set things up the way you want, which is correct for SEO, is going to help you rank the best. Squarespace is okay, but I find that Squarespace, as your business grows, you actually grow out of it in a lot of ways, and I think it's really easy to grow out of it SEO wise as well. Shopify is a common e-commerce site that a lot of small businesses use, which is fairly good, but it has a few problems with SEO. But I do know businesses and have clients who use Shopify sites who rank really, really well. Wix and Weebly are probably towards the bottom of the list. But in saying that, you can still rank for SEO if you're on a Wix or Weebly site. It's not a be-all and end-all. But again, I find most businesses actually outgrow those smaller platforms as their business grows anyway. And it's the same with SEO. So WordPress is definitely the better one.
Okay, cool. And I know you've got some tips written down for us about some things that we could be doing if we are trying to DIY our SEO. What would be the sort of first thing that you would start with?
So the first thing is definitely getting to know who your ideal client is and actually finding out what they're searching for online. So you could even ask them, you could do a survey and ask them what they'd search for online. Another great thing to do is to just start off with a big brainstorm. And you don't even need a computer for this. You could sit down somewhere with a piece of paper and write down every keyword or query. So a keyword is like a phrase that someone would put into Google. They're also called search queries in the SEO world, but it's like create a list of what you think people are searching for. And that could be for specific products on your site, it could be for blog posts that you've written, and it could be for like your general website topic as a whole. And then once you've got this list, I would recommend using the Google Keyword Planner, which is the tool that is inside of Google AdWords. So if you've got a Google AdWords account, you actually have access to this tool already, and it's free. And I would put all of your keywords in there and set your location depending on what your target market is. So if you're in New Zealand and you're only targeting New Zealand customers, then set the location to New Zealand. And then simply you're going to get delivered a whole lot of data around what people are searching for. And the great thing about this is that you can actually find out the truth rather than just an assumption, because a lot of businesses make assumptions about what people are searching for, what's the most popular term, just because they use that term themselves, but it doesn't mean your customers are using that term. And this kind of data is actually going to tell you honesty with, removing those assumptions, what people are actually searching for online, because it's going to give you the volume each month.
Yeah, okay. And just while we're talking, if you guys want to put in, I'd be interested to see from you guys, if you're on the call, what platform you are using for your website. And also if you've got a Google AdWords account already, which is is that the only way you can access this Google Planner, Keyword Planner tool?
Yeah, so you can set up a Google AdWords account as well.
Yeah, okay. So
if you don't already have it.
Okay, so you could set up that Google AdWords account specifically to find that planner tool?
Yeah, definitely. If you don't already have one, I would go ahead and do that.
Just as an aside, is it easy to find in there? Because I don't do my own AdWords, but I've been in there before and it's pretty confusing to me. I'm just wondering if that's easy to find, that planner tool.
So up the top of Google AdWords, there's 4 different sections. One's like home, one's campaigns. I can't remember the top of my head what the third one is, but the last one is tools.
Yeah.
And if you go tools, and then it's in that drop down.
Okay, cool. Awesome. That's pretty easy. Okay. And can you just run through for me again, if I go to that Google Keyword Planner tool, and what happens? Like, do I put in a keyword myself and then it brings up other words, or do you put in just your business and it brings up keywords that people are using around that business type or something?
So when you log in, there's 4 different options when you go into the Keyword Planner, and I'll check the third one, which is checking current trends. I can send some screenshots across to you after this call as well.
Yeah.
So just choose the one that's showing you search volume.
Okay.
And then if you go on there, you literally just put the keywords in that you've come up with.
Oh, I see. So you put your own keywords in. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's from that brain dump. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it spits
that you've
back
already done.
other
Yeah,
words that are more popular.
yeah, it can. So it will give you the list of what you've put in, and it will give you volumes, and it will also give you volumes per month, which is really good if you're a seasonal business. So it's going to show, like, if you put in, say, if you're selling beach towels, for example, the search volume for that is obviously going to be a lot higher over the summer months.
Yeah.
So you can actually break down month on month. And you can even use this data for a whole lot of stuff, like does that correlate with how your business is looking? Should you be getting more traffic? That kind of thing. If you're targeting a keyword that has, if you've already done some SEO and you're targeting a keyword that is hugely popular, but you're not getting any traffic from that, then something's wrong there. You probably need to relook at your SEO.
Yeah, and I think what you said before is so right. People make assumptions about what they're putting into their SEO, thinking, oh, this is how I would describe my business, or this is what I'm thinking I would want, but other people might think of it completely differently. So you could be off the mark. So that's a really useful tool, actually. Fix just asked, do you know if this can be added in metadata in the back of Squarespace?
Yes. Yeah, so that's my next point. So after you gather your keywords, what I would recommend then doing is going through your website and matching up the best keyword to a specific page on your website. So every page should have one keyword that you're trying to rank for.
Oh, right, a different keyword on each page.
Yeah, because what happens if we're targeting the same keyword on multiple pages is our pages are actually competing against each other.
Yeah, right.
So for every specific keyword that we want to rank for, we should be sending as much power to that one page as possible.
Okay. That's awesome. Okay.
And then once you've done that, then you can go into the CMS on your website, and pretty much all of the platforms have this in the back end. And that's where you add your title tag and your meta description.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really important on that title tag. This is what shows up in the Google search results. And the title tag is often in blue. And this, you want that keyword towards the start of that title tag.
Okay.
It's a really big factor in SEO is your title tag. So,
and can you just explain the difference between the title tags and the meta tags? Is that what it is?
Yeah. So, or meta description is what it's called, and that is a 160 character blurb that goes into that section, and then it shows up. It's like the blurb underneath the title in the search results.
Yeah.
And it's not about keywords here. It's about writing a compelling introduction to whatever's on that page in order to get people to click through.
Right. So that's what I was wondering, because I thought that I'd read that with the title tags, it's important that is compelling, but is it more important in there to get your keyword in the title tag and then write the compelling description in the meta description afterwards?
Yeah, so the title tag, I think it's better if it is compelling in some way, but also put quite a lot of emphasis on that keyword and getting the keyword is right to the front of that as possible. And then the meta, because you've only got 60 to 70 characters in that title tag, so it's not huge, and your ability to make it really compelling is somewhat limited because of that, whereas the meta description, you don't have to worry about keywords, and you've got a lot more space. And that meta description isn't actually something that Google takes into consideration. Like, they don't take that as a signal. It's more for the people. So it's all about really click-through rate. Yeah. And the funny thing is, even though the meta description is not a ranking factor, it actually is in a roundabout way, because the better your click-through rate to your website, which is how many people see your listing in Google and how many people click on it, that allows them to figure out what your click-through rate is. And the higher your click-through rate, it's a signal for Google, people like this website.
Yeah.
So it does help with rankings.
Yeah, okay. And Lisa's asked how many keywords are too many on a page?
So I'd go back to just going for one or one phrase.
Yeah.
So when I say keyword, you can have short tail keywords, which is just like one word, or you can go for longer tail keywords, which is like three to six keywords, like more of a phrase.
So mine might be New Zealand woman in business or something like that.
Yeah, so that would be a long tail keyword. And that would, usually be less competitive. It's kind of if you were going for like summer sandals versus rose gold summer sandals with strap or something like that.
Yeah,
like one's a short tail, it's going to be a lot more competitive. The other one's longer tail, less competitive, easier to rank for.
Right, okay. So then is it better to do longer tail ones or a mixture of both?
I would do a mixture of both, because what happens is that you kind of get to your home page and your main pages on your site, and it becomes really hard to make them super specific. So I would definitely use a couple of each, or have longer tail keywords on it, probably the deeper pages on your website, which are more specific, and then have for your main page be specific as possible. It's not always possible though.
Yeah, okay. Gabrielle has asked if you can give us a good website example of a keyword and a title tag that is done well. You might not have something offhand, but I think we could probably put something in the show notes afterwards for you, Gabrielle.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And then Beth's just said she's a product-based business owner specialising in multi-resources. Should I put the resources in every title tag and keyword? Should I just name each item, e.g. title of a book, author, and then multi-resources? Should I put...
Yep, so...
Yeah,
I get what she means. So with products like e-commerce sites, I do recommend for specific product pages to use that specific product as the keyword. But, they all have like a general category, and there's no harm at all putting that on the end on every page.
On the title tag?
Yeah, if there's room.
Yeah.
And you could also put your brand name if there was room. There's not always room though.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so for example, just to use we as an example, on a title page, I could say business network for New Zealand women in business, the We Network, or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. So, and you want to follow the same kind of structure on every page. So if you were going to have your brand name on every title tag at the end, you'd either put it after a hyphen.
Yeah, okay.
Or one of those up and down lines. I don't know what they're called. But,
I know, just a straight up and down line. Okay.
Yeah.
So is that a commonly accepted way to do it, putting a hyphen or the line there?
Yeah, it's pretty much like best practice, and there's no advantage of doing either, but just make it consistent. And
because it can just make it easier to write that title tag so that it sounds like it makes sense, but still get your brand name in there.
Yeah, exactly. And you can also have, if you were going to optimize for more than one keyword on a page, you can then have like your primary keyword, a hyphen, your secondary keyword, and then hyphen, then your brand name.
Right, okay.
If there was space.
Yeah, okay. And Eugenia's just said, what does it mean to have one keyword per site? Does it mean I should not be using that word on other pages? So if you've got a keyword on one page, does that mean that you'd try not to use that word on other pages, or just in the meta tag and descriptions?
Just in the meta tag and descriptions, because you can't fully stop using keywords on other pages if that's like what your site is about.
Yeah.
But when I talk about use one keyword per page, I'm talking about specifically strategically targeting that keyword.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that also means that in the content, you need to have that keyword sprinkled throughout your content as well.
Okay. Yeah. Specifically on that page too.
Yeah. And you may use that keyword on another page, but you're not specifically going after that keyword on that page because you're also using another keyword.
Yeah, okay. And Angela said it's called a pipe, the up and down line. Oh, is it?
Oh, yeah, that's good to know.
Never knew. I was thinking, what is she talking about there? Is that some special name for what we're talking about? I get it. Okay, and Amy's asked, is there a way to bulk update product titles in Shopify to add the business name to each title?
No. Unfortunately, I would have loved if this is the case many times on client websites. It can be quite it can be quite a big job, and I think this is where a lot of people get put off SEO, is they realize, if you've had a website and you've had it for a couple of years and you've had no kind of SEO knowledge and you've just haven't given it any thought as you've added more products to your site, it is going to be quite a big job to go through your website and get them done in a way where you're have optimized each page. But definitely I think it's worth it, but it's probably going to take a little bit of time to go back and do that manually.
But can I ask also, if you kind of set yourself the task of doing one page a week or something like that, if you didn't have a huge site and you just thought, well, I'll just do one page a week, if you do one page really well, is that detrimentally impacted by the other pages that aren't good? Does that make sense? If you've got one page really optimized well, it's still going to work well for you, that particular page?
Yeah, totally. It won't matter if the other pages aren't optimized. Google do kind of take note if you've got lots of broken links throughout your site, and they take that as a sign that it's not maintained.
Right. Okay.
But you are better off having any page rank better, even if you haven't got to the other pages yet. But I do suggest that if you're in that situation where you have a whole heap to do and you just are so overwhelmed by it all, I would recommend every time you upload a new product or a new page, you optimize from the start, and then you go back and do 2 or 3 others.
And I guess the key work at the beginning is figuring out that consistent title, tag, how you're going to set it up, so that each time you go in and do a new page, you're following the same formula. So you've got that formula written down somewhere. So then, because I can just see myself thinking, I'll optimize this page, and then forgetting which page it is that I've optimized and putting a new page on, and then having to look through all the pages to see which page it is that I've optimized. You want to have a sort of key document somewhere with all of your keyword and tips of how you're going to write that title and everything down as you optimize each page.
Yeah, a good idea for that is to use a spreadsheet to write it all down before you actually transfer it into your website. A lot of people don't like doing that though, because it feels like double handling. But it does kind of mean you keep that consistency. And another huge advantage of doing it that way is that you can actually come up with the way that you're going to structure them and exactly what you want those title tags and meta descriptions to be, and then you could actually pass it on to an assistant or a VA and get them to do that really manual stuff on your behalf, which is a huge relief to a business owner that has a huge website and can't see it ever getting done.
Lisa's asked, can you recommend which SEO app to use on a Shopify site?
There's quite a few. There's probably not one off the top of my head, because they do, there's ones that do different things. So it really depends on what you specifically need on your website.
Okay. And Vic's asked, is there a way of research tool that can show you what your competitors are doing? Is there a research tool that can show you what your competitors are doing? There is, isn't there?
So there's lots of different things you can do with competitors. One, you can actually use a paid tool like moz.com, but this is looking at about $99 US a month, which is more than what most small businesses want to spend. There's also one called SEMrush, the same price, and you can literally track everything you're doing, but you can also track what your competitors are doing. In saying that, you can also go into incognito mode on your browser and start looking at what they're doing simply by looking at what they come up for. Also, there's a Google Chrome extension called SEO Meta in one click, which is free. And I'd highly recommend installing this if you're using Chrome, because then you can go onto any website and simply click on the Chrome extension, and it will show on every page what your title tag and meta description is. And if some CMS website platforms have a box by the title tag and meta description that people can actually upload their keywords into. If they've done this, you can actually use that Chrome extension to see what keywords they're targeting. And saying that, I recommend that you don't fill this in yourself on your own website, because people can do the same to you.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, the thing is, I guess it would depend on if you know that your customer's doing SEO, if you know that your competitor's doing SEO well and doing their online stuff well, and that's great. But the other thing is, you don't want to go and look at someone who's kind of doing an average job of it anyway and then copying theirs, because they're probably doing it badly anyway. Like, you want to be making sure that it's worth it, I guess, for the time it takes to sort of have a look at that stuff, and that you're not better just to be doing more keyword research of your own.
Yeah, exactly. It's like anything in marketing. I think focusing too much on your competitors, you can waste a lot of time on that kind of thing instead of focusing on how to better your own business. But in saying that, out of all the marketing channels, I would say that SEO is probably one where you do need to keep a little tap on what your competitors are up to. And another thing is that a lot of small business owners think, I'm ranking really well, I don't need to do SEO because I'm already ranking. But the reality is, if one of your competitors actually decided to start investing in SEO, that's not going to last forever. So you've just got to be mindful of that. That anyone can hire an SEO firm.
Yeah. And Louise has asked, do broken links still work against your ranking if you have redirects in place?
So if you have a redirect in place, your ranking won't be affected at all, because the broken link, it's not actually a broken link, because anything in Google, anything in the search results, or any links that are heading towards that page that no longer exists, are actually being redirected to the correct place. This is like good management in terms of SEO. A whole heap of broken links that haven't been redirected and they're just hitting 404 pages, which is like page not found, which I'm sure we've all seen on the internet. Yes, that is a sure sign to Google that your site is not being maintained.
Yeah. Okay.
Which means that Google don't regard it as important. Another big thing with SEO is links pointing to your page. And if those links are broken, then they're worthless, really.
When you say links pointing to your page, do you mean from other people? So if you've given
other people. So so Google's a robot, right? It crawls its way through the internet, and the only way it can crawl is via links. So links from other websites to your website are going to help you get found, and links within your own website are also going to help new pages get indexed, because this Google robot or crawler actually has to find its way to your page, so you have to allow it to be found, if that makes sense.
Okay. And we've got a couple more questions coming through. I just wanted to ask you before we sort of go to more questions, was there anything else that you were sort of, we've talked about knowing your ideal client first and what they're searching for, and using that Google Keyword Planner tool. And if you haven't got Google AdWords installed, then you can it might be worth getting that, just so you can access that planner tool and do some keyword research for yourself. And then matching one keyword to each page of your website, so that you've got one keyword focus for each page of your site, and getting those title tags and meta descriptions right, and potentially using like a hyphen with your brand name or something at the end, and figuring out what your consistent title tag, following a consistent pattern with that. Is there anything else on top of that? I was wondering if how blog posts and content fit in with SEO, because do you just follow that same pattern with a blog post? Like, you decide what the keyword is going to be for that specific blog post and follow that same formula?
Yes, definitely.
Tricks with content.
Yep, so the main reason for having a blog is to hugely increase your capacity for targeting different keywords. So every blog post should be regarded as a new opportunity to rank for a new keyword. You optimize it the same. So it's, again, the title tag, the meta description, that keyword within the copy. but also making sure that that blog post is then linked to from other pages on your site once it's published is going to help the Google bot index that new page.
Okay, so link to it from other blog posts and as well as other pages on your website.
Yeah, and another, like you were asking before about, is it worth having one page that's really well optimized and doing really well if your other pages aren't, done yet? One thing that you can actually do is use that page that is ranking really well to then link to other pages, and then you're spreading that link juice from that really good page that's getting a lot of traffic through to your other pages. So you can start to see how you can start actually pointing more traffic to pages within your site by using internal linking.
Okay, cool.
I did have one more thing on my wee list of things to do. Is installing Google Search Console or signing up for Google Search Console is something I definitely recommend. Most businesses don't even know this exists, but it is basically your communication tool between Google and you. So if you were to get penalised by Google, they would actually send you a message through Google Search Console.
Right.
It also will show you what you're currently ranking for, and it gives you impressions of the search engine result, but it also tells you how many people click through. So then it gives you a click-through rate, and it also tells you your position for that keyword. Now, this is another great place to look if you, in that keyword research phase, because you can actually find keywords in here that you're ranking for that you haven't even thought of, and you may actually be on the front page or the second page. And then you can start using those pages to link to other pages that you want to rank a little bit higher that currently aren't.
Mm.
So to do that, you can just Google Search Console, and it will be the first result. Click on it, and it will ask you to add a property. You'll need to have a Google account for this. And add a property, which is your website. So make sure it's correct, whether it's HTTP or HTTPS. HTTPS means that your website is secure, and Google are actually giving preference to these websites now. They're quite big on security, but just make sure you've got the right property. So Google will actually regard an HTTP website and an HTTPS as two separate websites. So just make sure you put the right one when you set up Google Search Console, and then it will ask you to verify your site. And there's quite a few different options here. The easiest one is to use your connection with Google Analytics. And that can be simply clicking the button. But unfortunately, if you don't have Google Analytics set up properly, it's not going to work. So there's quite a few different options there.
Okay. And I've got a couple more questions that I wanted to go through with you. Katrina said WordPress gives advice of what is missing on your page to optimize your SEO. Does Squarespace offer the same service?
So I think that's through the Yoast plugin. Is that what you're talking about, Katrina?
She hasn't put it down there, but yes.
Yeah, so that's a plugin. And this is why I prefer WordPress, is because there's add-ons for everything on WordPress. Squarespace, no, I haven't seen a tool that does the similar. But in saying that, if you followed what we've just talked about in terms of what to add to your title tag, what to add to your meta description, and making sure your keyword is through your content, that's all that those kind of tools tell you anyway.
Yeah, and I remember you saying, when we were mentioning sort of the overwhelm before, I think we were talking about it last time, I mean, you could make quite a lot of difference to your SEO on your website in a day, couldn't you? Like if you just
definitely
one day to go in and start optimizing your site, you could probably get through quite a lot. It's just scheduling that time in. Maybe we should have an SEO challenge day where we sit down and schedule to do our SEO together.
Yeah, I think it kind of comes back to the instant gratification as well that you get from social media. Like you might upload stuff and you'll get an instant reaction. But SEO is not like that, and I think people don't get so excited about it. But in reality, yes, you could knock out a lot of work in quite a short space of time if you're really committed to it.
Yeah. Louis, Beth has asked, what is a slug, and is this important?
So a slug is like a different word for your URL.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
or, it's like a slug specifically is the bit on the end. So after whatever your domain name is and then the forward slash.
Oh, okay. So it's just the
Yeah.
individual page.
And it is important. A good URL, there's been lots of studies that have shown that shorter URLs that are keyword rich rank way better than real long URLs. Quite often, if you create a blog post, your website platform will automatically just pull the title and use that as the URL or the product or whatever kind of page you're uploading with a hyphen in between the words. I'd definitely recommend before you publish a page while it's still in draft mode to edit the slug or the URL so that it's shorter, more condensed, and again has the keywords in it.
Okay, great. Okay, and on that topic, Eugenia's asked, what keywords do you recommend to use in the title for the homepage, the main service, and or the name of the company name? I guess that depends on your keyword research, right?
Yeah, so in the title tag, I would recommend using your brand name at the start because Google has actually started, if you don't do this, it started just generating it for you and then putting whatever you've put second. Okay. So sometimes you can actually do your metadata, like your title tag, and Google won't like it, so they'll still just show whatever they want.
Oh, right.
And if this is happening to you, then it literally means that they don't think that the title tag you have inserted is actually relevant. So they've chosen their own. I would then tweak that title tag and make sure it's kind of more in line with what they're wanting, but add your own angle to it so that you're not just using theirs. So that is why I recommend putting the brand name at the start.
Okay, so for the We Network, it could just be for the homepage, the We Network New Zealand Women in Business Network or something like that, New Zealand Women Business Community. Yeah,
exactly. And it's quite hard to optimize a homepage because it usually is so broad. So also your homepage has got more chance of ranking organically anyway, because usually when people link to your website, they're linking to your homepage. They're not linking to specific pages. So, homepage optimization is important, but it's not always possible because it is so broad, and also on e-commerce sites, a lot of homepages don't have much content. They're just mainly driven around images. So you've got to get into the mindset of thinking about all of your pages in your website as an opportunity to rank.
Yeah, so would it be and is that when they talk about pillar blog posts? I don't know if you guys have heard about pillar blog posts before, but a pillar blog post is one of those posts that is kind of evergreen content. Like it's not going to go out of fashion or out of date because you haven't mentioned dates in it. It's not sort of dated and relevant for those reasons. It's just quite high quality content, quite a long post that gives a lot of information. So a pillar post like that, if you do, let's say, 4 blog posts a month and one of them is a pillar post, then that pillar post could be a really good one to make sure that you're optimizing because it can last for a long, long time for you. Whereas if you're going to start picking blog posts to optimize, you don't want to pick one that's about an event that you had 2 months ago or something like that. Like you want to pick the evergreen content.
Yeah, definitely. Posts like this that are longer as well and really in depth are likely to rank better as well. And over time, if they're evergreen content, then that's potentially going to give you website traffic for years.
So is it better to focus on if you're going to choose and say let's try and do optimize 5 pages? Would it be preferable to start with blog posts rather than like your about page, or is it better to start with your other website pages that aren't blog posts and isn't the homepage?
Yeah, it depends on the specific website, but blog posts definitely have more chance of you ranking for longer tail keywords, whereas your about page, it's really difficult to optimize an about page for anything more than your own name. Like what are you really going to optimize that for? There's not a huge amount of opportunity there, whereas the blog post, the opportunities are endless.
Yeah.
In terms of what you're going to try and rank for.
Yeah.
Another one is the contact page. Like almost, don't spend much time optimizing your contact page, because it's not really going to make any difference.
Yeah, okay. And Louise has asked, is it better to have your blog posts on your website or on something like WordPress and linking that to your website? So having it separate from your website.
Yeah, so that's usually by a subdomain. So, where it might have blog dot and then your normal domain name, and then it will be linked between the two. That is, a lot of studies have been done on that as well, and it is better to have it on one domain. So instead of blog dot your domain name, you would have your domain name /blog, just like any other page on your website. That's definitely preferable.
Okay.
A lot of people did used to set that up because they thought, there'd be like link juice going between the two, but Google actually know that you own both of them.
Yeah, right. Okay, so
yeah, they don't really care that you're linking between the two. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And Vic's just said, I always get confused with business pages for Google and getting onto Google AdWords. How do you just get onto AdWords quickly? Do I have to keep logging on in the business.google.com?
So business.google.com is Google My Business, and it's quite separate from Google AdWords. So I'd specifically find the Google AdWords domain. I don't actually know off the top of my head what it is, but I can find it. Is it
AdWords.google.com?
Yeah, it'll be something like that. What I would recommend is going simply Googling Google AdWords and then make sure you're on the right result. So Google My Business pages in comparison are actually those little maps. That's where you set yourself up on Google Maps, and they're for local businesses that have like a physical location that foot traffic can go in and out of. So two very separate things, whereas Google AdWords is the actual ads in Google.
Yeah, okay. And I know there's no more questions that have popped up, and if you haven't got anything else to cover, Louise, I mean, I think even just keeping it quite simple today, I feel like that's enough of, just those first 5 tips that you went through is something great to get started with. Plus there's a couple of sort of key pointers in there. So what I'll do is I'll go through and put together a printable of what we've spoken about today, that I'll pop up when I put the recording into the members club, and the printable will just be a step-by-step work through of those 5 things that Louise has talked about, with those kind of little tips that she said along the way as well, like to link between high ranking, if you've got a high ranking page, pop links in there to other pages to help with their rankings, that kind of thing. So that will be available to you guys to follow up with afterwards. But I also know if you are keen to get your SEO done and you want some support with it, I think you haven't got a challenge coming up, Louise. Are you still doing it?
Yeah. So I run a 5-day free challenge called SEO Your Website in 5 days that will help you through this process, and I'm going to be running that in early December. You can put your name on the wait list, which means that you can be notified via email to sign up just before it starts. I ran this a few months ago and people had some amazing results from it in terms of getting so much done in 1 week, and it really splits it out by day over 5 days of exactly the steps you need to take. And you can I do actually have an online course that that people after doing this went on to do more SEO, which was like the next step where you're doing everything, whereas this 5-day challenge is enough to help you get ranked in Google if you're not
but just so you guys know, so the challenge isn't running all the time, like you're only doing it at the beginning of December, and then once you're finished, that's it.
So I'll be doing it next year as well. It has to be quite because there is quite a lot of support around it. So there's a Facebook group. It's really intensive. You can ask questions and I'll be there to answer them. So the reason I only run it at certain times is because of that support.
It's free too, that one, isn't it?
Yeah,
cool. So is that via your website, hookedonmarketing.com, or?
Yep, so I'll actually give you the link directly to the waitlist that you can add to the show notes. But also if you go to hookedonmarketing.com, you'll be able to find it on there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. If anyone's got any more questions, you can pop them in the comments here, or once the recording goes live in the Members Club, you can also comment with questions in the comments in the Members Club, and we'll follow up on those as well if there's anything that comes up afterwards that you want to follow up on. So thank you so much for that, Louise. I feel like I've definitely learned some stuff today and some kind of quick tips too that might not feel so overwhelming to try and implement. But yeah, really useful. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thanks for having me, Rach.
Okay, thanks for coming along, guys. The recording will be in the Members Club some stage next week for you guys. I'll let you know when it's in there. Okay, see you everyone. Bye.
Bye.